They have fought their way through a series of dogs to find Soviet supply stash in the center of the town. The area has definitely been heavily battle damaged. There is also able to detect a higher than normal amount of background radiation. It's not a case of, oh my word, we need to get out now levels of background radiation, but it is a case of probably don't want to live here level of background radiation. Explored depths of the Soviet building. You have yet to explore all of its various rooms. You've only explored a little bit of it. But you did find a vault with a vast amount of supplies. Chiefly weapons, ammunition, medical supplies. Also, however, in the room was a very large number of dead bodies. The reason for the large number of dead bodies became clear when the Commodore started feeling very ill very quickly. Commodore started feeling, and it became very ill very quickly. Commodore he had suffered from chemical weapon exposure. There was then an interesting series of events where the Doctor was attempting to stabilize the Commodore whilst our brave Remy officer braved, I say I'm using we're brave a lot, risked the dangers of the vault by going back in to find medical equipment. It became clear that this is a slightly unwise plan, and it was amended when the lieutenant searched through various rooms in an attempt to find a hazmat suit, gas mask, anything like that. Unable to find a full NVC suit, but they did find a gas mask with an intact filter. So they used that to go back into the chemical weapons room and search through bag after bag after bag of medical supplies. A problem soon emerged, which is that obviously chemical weapons need bespoke, specific treatments. You can't just whack any old thing on there. And all the labels were in Russian. No one can speak Russian. And all the labels were in Russian. So there was a bit of a problem, which involved lots of searching through manuals, guesswork, process of elimination, and after a while, but it was quite a while, the party were able to successfully identify the appropriate drug to stabilize the Commodore. By this point, the lieutenant was also suffering from the exposure to the chemical weapons, but the same treatment worked on them as well. And it was applied a lot earlier, so the lieutenant was nowhere nearly as badly in. Once that had happened, the entire team siphoned fuel and filled up the M113, drove back with news of their discoveries to Krazka, where they found the executed body of Gabrielle still on display. There was some talks with people here or there, working out exactly what had gone on. However, eventually the party decided that they would side with the Major. Whether or not that's genuine or whether or not that was just to get out of the room alive, I'm not entirely sure. But they ended up, they were interrogated one by one individually, and they were all able to convince the Major that they were not part of Gabrielle's insane actions. As a result of which, you've been trusted to go out again. The fuel that you brought back was divvied up and used to partially fill a Bradley and an M60. Your M113, the Bradley, and the M60 were all sent back to Sestakova, and that's hoped to be enough troops to keep it secure, and then you can hold on to at least to the cache, whilst you work out how to get even more fuel back, probably through the great big articulated fuel lorry, but who knows, to fuel the rest of the fleet, and then start moving troops over to Sestakova, or whatever the plan may be. In an effort to do this, you decided to, rather than go the long way round, you would still go by Crespis, but you would skirt the village so you wouldn't have to go into it and cause a bit of a problem. However, whilst attempting to do this, the M113 crested a hill and stared directly at an anti-tank gun. That was not there before. I should also point out that as the team were returning from Sestakova to Praska, this is something I glossed over, they caught sight of a steam train that was just sitting there unloading people, and they decided to wait a while, and eventually the steam train left and they were able to continue on their way. Anyway, so there's an anti-tank gun there. Came to an immediate halt, had a conversation with the Polish soldiers who came out of the woods, and as a result of this conversation, it was decided that you would go into the town of Crespis, where you have learned that the priest has taken ill, and they were very concerned about allowing armed and armoured vehicles to be in their rear. So the vehicle-mounted weapons have been temporarily disabled. Vital components have been firing mechanisms and the like, and they are in the hands of the Polish troops. You're being guided into the centre of town, but you have not yet reached it. And during the questioning from the Polish soldiers, someone let slip that there might have been something interesting in the city of Sestakova, and believe that the Poles have decided to send some scouts. Have decided to send some scouts to go check that out, and that pretty much brings you immediately up to speed.
Yeah, the lieutenant.
Do you have any questions before we get into?
I missed a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Oh, no questions. Oh, also, judging by the fact how long it took you to answer my question, we're on a bit of a delay as well. But that's fine, we can work around that. Okay, so. And I'm just going to assume that Gabrielle has been sitting quietly in the back of the M113 with the party. That's how I'm doing it. Not Gabrielle, Dalton. Gabrielle is sitting quietly in the back of the M113. We have other problems.
Yeah, dead Gabrielle.
It has suddenly become a zombie apocalypse. No. So okay. So the whole team are sitting in the M113. Commodore is driving it. We're rumbling along into the centre of town at walking speed, flanked by armed Polish soldiers. You're not allowed to keep your weapons, but your vehicle weapons have been disabled. And there's definitely a lot of activity going on inside the usually quite calm and peaceful town of Crespis. Previously, when you have been observing this place, it seems to have weirdly 2 people in it, and you believe that they may be hiding or something along those lines. Right now, you can see probably almost all of the population of Crespis as you are brought in. There are hundreds of people in the streets. Carry on.
I was going to say, I'll tell everyone just to stay in the vehicles. I'll hop out with the doctor. So it's just me and the doctor who's hopping out, and let the lieutenant sit in the driver's seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about Dalton?
I'll bring in Dalton as well as protection, but yeah, just so no one gets too antsy.
Okay. So you and the 2 vehicles, or 3 vehicles, including the 2 that are with you, have reached the centre of the village, and you're indicated to halt. And as you, Dalton, and the doctor all jump out, you are able to see a flurry of activity all around you. There are men, women, and children heading in all directions. Lots of them seem to be running backwards and forwards with arms full of supplies, not just weapons and ammunition, but food, clothes, medical affairs, boxes full of things where you can't work out what's in there. There are several trucks, which you have not previously seen before, parked up in the center of town. And that parked up in the center of town. And those generally have people in Polish army uniforms huddled around them. One of them has got a cluster of very agitated people around the back of it. They are shouting, they are yelling. One or two people are starting to scream, and they're sort of pressing on the back of the truck. There's a disproportionately large number of children in the crowd. And the Polish soldiers, who you don't seem to be able to hear, are shoving people away. Well, I say here, you can hear them, but you don't speak Polish. You can't understand them. Are shoving people away.
He presses on into the city and the church just to see the priest.
Okay. So, group heads towards the church. You are flanked again by armed Polish troops. You are aware that quite a few people who are running around, usually the men, but not always, are armed, but most of them aren't wearing Polish army uniforms. But a lot more people are wearing Polish army uniforms than the last time you were here. There also just appear to be more people. You are led into the church and told to sit and wait. After a while, somebody that Gavriel would have recognized if he were here approaches. He's a person wearing Polish army uniform, which looks as though it's about 30, 40 years out of date, but it's actually quite modern. And will say to you, "So, you have come here to speak to the priest. What do you wish to say to him?" He speaks in English.
That's between me and the priest.
Not unless I say it is. Tell me, what do you wish to say to him?
It's between me and the priest and the Heavenly Father.
We're here
You
to
can't
speak
get
to
it.
confessional.
Yeah.
He chuckles. Now, not time. You will remain here until you wish to be more cooperative. He says something in Polish to the soldiers, and he just goes to leave. Do you do anything to sort of stop or intervene, or do you just let him go?
He goes, Gabrielle try to put Polish people in danger.
Stops, turns around just as he's about to leave the church. What do you mean?
There were civilians in the encampment. He was trying to start an uprising within the encampment.
In the NATO encampment.
Yeah. I'm talking to the priest about it because he knows one of the people in there, and I wanted to inform him the woman he usually sees is still alive with her son.
Give me a persuasion roll. I know it's not a lie, but just to see how effective you are in this. Okay. So he'll look you over, and you still look rough. And we'll say, perhaps benefit from hearing this. And then he say, wait here a moment. But he has a lot less of a sort of dismissive, well, you can wait here until you decide to talk attitude.
Yeah.
He'll go, and it takes about, I don't know, nothing seems to happen for 10 minutes. Do you start to worry about anything, or do you just keep waiting patiently?
I turned to the doctor. I'm like, I'm hoping he actually believes what I just said because it was the truth. Because he did something stupid. He would have put everyone at risk.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was a little worried about. Is more the people, the innocent kids and their families, Polish people, than
Hmm. I wonder. I wonder why they're waiting so long to take us to see him, if his condition is as serious as they've led us to believe.
yeah. If they don't want us to see him, we might as well just leave.
Well, I think to leave now would be suspicious.
Yeah.
I would say that we are a bit outnumbered here.
Basically, we're on a time schedule anyway, so it's like we might as well. It's either continue waiting here or we have to press on. We have been cooperative with them, so it's not like we're actually doing anything to harm them.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that that's what we've been, cooperative. You can tell she doesn't look too pleased as she's saying these things.
Hmm.
He crutches over to the main doors and knocks on them.
Okay, so he goes, he hobbles over to walks over to the main door, and it opens up. I'm assuming this is the door out into the town square. It opens up, and there are some soldiers there. They sort of gesture at you to wait. It's not aggressive. They're not pointing guns or anything at you, but the language barrier prevents speaking to you meaningfully.
Okay. Is there any other doors, like inside the.
Oh yes. So if you go up to sort of altar end,
Yeah.
there's a door to the left, one to the right, and then there's one a little ahead of the altar that's also to the right.
He
These
just
are
waits at the door.
yeah, okay.
Out of
These are smaller
respect.
doors. Okay, he waits. About another 5 to 10 minutes pass, and then eventually, out of one of the side doors near the altar, the priest, Father Anatol Polek, will appear. He does not look good. He looks tired and haggard, and his eyes are red, and he's having a bit of difficulty breathing, but he's standing. With him is the slightly hurt soldier you were just talking to, and another person who you haven't seen before, a young man who appears to be dressed in civilian clothing, who is standing just behind the priest. And he sees you all, gesture slightly to the pews. Sit! Sit, sit.
He does.
Ah,
Uh,
carry on.
he goes, will do me better if I sit down as well. And he sits down. And he says, Doctor, can you come over?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I out of character assumed that she was sitting next to you anyway, but
Yeah.
she'll come from wherever she is in the cathedral. She'll go, and
You guys,
All right.
good news is they are safe, but we're trying to get
But-
he says we're trying to get the major over to the other, go as planned to get her over into the other city. So
Oh, forward slightly. And usually when he speaks to you, he's been sort of he's standing pretty together. But he shuffles over to the pew and he sits like slightly off to the side of the party. And it's clear that he doesn't have the strength to stand for long. Hence why he's taken the weight off. And as he's being guided, he's guided down by the young man in civilian clothing who's trying to hide it, but you can tell that he's sort of supporting the priest on one arm and is guiding him down. I
he
see.
goes,
Yeah.
one thing I'm wondering, where did you get your food from in the early days?
Oh, well, I got my food. I could find it. Scavenged bins, picked it from woods, picked it from old abandoned places, hunted, foraged. I was never very good at the hunting. Scavenged and scraped from anywhere and everywhere.
Did you go to more closer to the abandoned city
He nods.
over the other side?
Yes, I went that far and a lot further.
Was it abandoned at the time you went there?
No, that happened later. It's filled with soldiers when I went there.
Did you still hunt later when you got when the city got abandoned?
Yes, foraged mainly.
More closer to it or away from it?
He waves his hand. What are you trying to get at?
I'm trying to figure out if what you have is what I had.
Oh, what did you have? Did you get it from wandering into the city?
We believe it. We can. We don't know if we can find another batch of it, but
How quickly did your symptoms, come on?
within an hour.
yeah.
And did you
Um,
go
oh,
red across large portions of your body?
doctor?
Out of character, no, you didn't.
No, I didn't. Hey, doctor, you know anything about radiation or
She Rusticam swallows a bit nervously, and looks away for a minute. Yeah, I've seen the effects of radiation sickness.
He
is there any?
smiles. And he holds up a hand and says, "You're going to try and work out what's ailing me, aren't you?"
Yes.
There's no point. I already know. I know that it is the long-term effects of radiation poisoning, combined with a certain variant of... it wasn't quite cancer, but it was something a lot like it. The words escape me. I believe I probably got my first exposure years ago. Too close to a nuclear blast site, probably. And he sniffs, and he says, "The sanctuary doctors saw me years ago and told me what I had. I've known I've been dying this whole time."
Yeah. There's no cure for the symptoms of what cancer is, or
Oh, there is no cure.
yeah, there is no cure.
My time here is growing short. But I'm an old man anyway, and God is taking me the moment he means to, I'm sure of that.
You know the girl that you used to speak to a lot?
Spoken to many of them. You mean from Nebraska?
Yes.
Yes, there are a few.
The
Small
one with the
child?
little... Yes.
Ah, yes, Eugenia.
She's still alive, and she hasn't drawn attention to herself. I wanted to let you know her and her son are alive. And I'm trying to get resources to the Polish people, but you know how the major is. The rumors.
Know how the Major is told or thought to be. And we've had it all but confirmed from some secondary sources. At that point, a soldier kicks in and says, "No matter what resources deliver her, it will not help the people there." Priest sort of waves his hand in a case of, "Oh, I don't believe that," kind of a dismissive wave.
The woman needs some clothes, warm clothes for her kid. I'm hoping I can pick up some warm clothes for her kid on the way back.
You're going back to Sestakova then?
Yes. By the time she realizes it's not livable, it'll be too late.
At that, the priest sort of raises his eyebrows slightly, and then he looks to Dalton and the doctor. What do Rostergram and Dalton have to say about that, if anything?
I don't really have anything to say.
Okay.
I'm beginning to see why you warned us about the place.
Hundreds of people to their deaths.
Yeah.
He chuckles, but it's a sad, empty chuckle.
I'm hoping to get the Polish civilians out of that town. But I don't know if I...
At that point, there's the
Yeah.
Polish soldier chips in, and he says, "They are not stupid. They will work out that the place has its dangers long before it kills all of them. They'll take steps
Yes.
to deal with it."
I'm hoping the civilians stay at the current village so we can get them over here for you guys.
And
We'll be eventually...
carry on.
He goes, I'll eventually move... I eventually don't want to be in Poland. I would rather see it be part of the Polish people.
The priest smiles at that and says, "Those notions are long since done away with and in the past." The soldier glares at him when he says that, but he doesn't seem to care. And say that all live now where we happen to be. Countries of old do not exist. Your home does not exist. And he looks at everyone and says, none of your homes exist. If you go back, they will not be as they were.
I know.
It is a new beginning for us all. As much of a curse as that may be, it can also be an opportunity.
I think it can be an opportunity for us all.
He nods, and he so closes his eyes, and they stay closed for quite a while, and it's clear he's very tired, and he's trying to push through.
I think he needs to rest.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Waves a
take
hand. As a case, no, I don't need to rest. He just waves it away. You deal with this. I will rest when the work is done. So, you want to leave, continue on your journey.
Yes.
But the officer here, he gestures to the Polish soldier, believes that an attack is imminent. Be
No.
unwise to allow several NATO armored vehicles to be in his rear.
Put it this way, if we're just passing through.
And do you believe that the Major and her men will go the long way round when they move?
Yes.
The soldier chips in. Says, what kind of supplies were there?
You know that it's I got sick, right?
Yes.
I never got to see fully in the vault.
Nearly died.
Yeah, you're gonna have to roll for that.
He was too busy throwing up.
Yeah, true, but you saw a huge amount of weapons and ammunition. Okay, alright. He squints when you say that, but he doesn't say anything else. Does anybody else chip in when he says what was in the vault? Oh, okay. So, they'll look at he'll squint a little and say, "What about what was outside the building? The motor pool."
Dogs.
Dogs. No vehicles?
They like eating humans.
That is not a surprise. They will eat anything. Usually each other.
I wouldn't even go into that hellhole myself.
And why are you going back?
Orders.
I don't want to go, but orders are orders. We don't go and attack villages.
So, I will ask what the priest asks. Believe can persuade the Major to go by the long south road.
She wants to.
But she needs what to do so? Fuel? Repair kits? Vehicles?
I asked for one little favor.
Please,
We won't
you
bring
can ask.
we won't bring any of the heavy vehicles on our way back. But I would request one thing. We bring an extra vehicle through that will not be armed.
What kind of vehicle?
truck.
Oh, yes. That can be done. That can be arranged.
It's not. It's a civilian truck, not a military truck.
Nods and says, "Are we talking flatbed truck, pickup truck, articulated lorry?"
Lorry. Is it a
You know,
lorry or?
if you're talking
Yeah.
about the fuel truck, yeah, it's a sort of articulated lorry with a cab and a big long fuel tank.
Yeah, it's a lorry, just to help us like move vehicles.
It's also interesting that it was a civilian one, not a military one, but it was just in there.
I said
okay.
civilian because I
Yeah.
know for a fact that they won't question on that one.
Yeah. But no, it's also true that the one in the motor pool is a civilian one. It's not an army
Yeah.
fuel truck in army green and all that kind of thing. Okay, all right. So thinks about that. Says, and that will make the major and her men go the long way around.
Yeah.
There's lots of whispering and talking and so forth. And then they say, when she expect you back?
Mm. He goes, when did she expect us back? He looks at the doctor. I think the doctor was with me.
I mean, weren't we all out of character? I thought we all were there for that briefing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
I
was. Yeah.
I look
And also
at
out
you
of
two.
character. Yeah.
I look at them too, and I say, and I look back. I have a bad memory since going down with the flu. I'm referring back to my colleagues because it makes it a lot easier for me to remember. When did she expect us back? Using my memory right now.
Out of character, since you told her you'd be going the short way, she was expecting to at least be in radio contact 3 days from now.
Yep. He says about 3 days.
It is. He nods. Says it will take a lot less time to get there than that.
Yep.
You will, and he's clearly just sort of thinking as he's talking. You will remain here. The priest starts to object, but the soldier puts a hand on his shoulder and just sort of presses down a little bit, and the priest falls into silence. And you can tell he has it, that he definitely wants to say something, but he's just too weak. And so says, remain here for the next day or so. Then we'll be allowed to go to town, to cover. Some of our people escorting you. We'll pick up the fuel, then we'll drive straight back.
I prefer to leave now.
You will not.
I think you should listen to the priest. We aren't the enemy here.
The priest starts to sort of intercede on your behalf. He says, listen, my friend, these are good people, and we should not struck. Perhaps if we were able to... No. I take your words seriously, Father. You are a good and wise man who has shepherded the people here. Many hardships. And your colleagues across Poland. Good work. But there are other issues here. Turns to you three. Says, if I let you go now, you will take all supplies for yourselves.
I want to continue on, and it wasn't part of the deal.
What deal?
You know what deal.
He looks around in a case of sort of no. But also he says, perhaps, perhaps not. I do not know the deal you refer to. I'm telling you what happens now.
You know what? I overstayed my welcome. And let me tell you, I'm not going to make you an enemy of me, because it's not right to punish the people for the sins of the leaders on the crimes
holds up.
of what they do.
Adam says, not worry. Will not detain you here for long, and have done nothing wrong, so you will be kept comfortably, and you could clearly do with rest.
No.
Simply a
I'm
case that
I'm
these
continuing
supplies
on.
belong to Poland.
I'm
The
continuing
fuel.
on.
No.
He
Oh.
walks out.
And okay, it's at this point that it is. Ooh. There are going to be some rolls going on in the background. Hang on.
He goes, I'm walking out, and of my own free will, and we aren't going to try and shoot anyone or arrest anyone. And we all separate our own merry way. And he continues.
The priest is arguing as loudly as he can in Polish. You can't make out what's being said, but it's clear that they're very, very acrimonious between him and the soldier. The civilian who is helping him is sort of like picking the priest up and is ushering the priest towards a door. He's clearly got the whole "this is a dangerous situation, I'm getting this vulnerable man out of here" kind of scenario.
Oh, no.
The priest is doing his best to struggle against it, but he is failing. And the soldiers who are sort of around, one of them leaves not the cathedral, the church, by the front door, whilst the priest is being ushered to the side door. It'll take you a bit of time to get to the front door. Do you continue striding to the front door? Do you go to a side door? Do anything else?
He continues going straight to the front door. Like, it, because he got in this situation because somebody opened their big mouth. And yeah, consequences have actions, and if he gets shot, it's not because of what he did.
I was gonna glance at Dalton and be like, "What the hell do we do?"
Yeah, yeah, this is a moment where both of you need to chip in, because this may be important.
Finally back, but I'm so fucking exhausted.
Yeah, I may die because of you opening your mouth last session.
Out of character.
That's out of character.
Yeah.
Commander, what are you talking
No,
about?
seriously, fuck. God.
That's okay. It's not. I'm not gonna die. It's just that. Yeah.
There is tension.
Quick recap, maybe?
He really wants them supplies, and I really am not giving it up.
To carry on, Creeble, you were saying something.
To make me fucking even more feeling like shit, especially
No.
after all the shit I had to do.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, we've because we are in the We're in the cathedral right now. We've been told that we need to stay in the village for another day. I guess it's kind of as a show of good faith, pretty much. And then we'd be allowed to continue on to Shestakova. But, Commodore
He
Wolf
wants
is
half
concerned
the-
about us being there for a day. So it's like, what are we doing?
Basically, he wants half of that resources. He wants half of it. Yeah. He wants half of it.
And essentially what he's been doing, I mean, he hasn't said that, but that is what you have decided
Picked up
is likely
on.
true. Yeah, and what he said, by the way, Soboslaw is in the M113 along with the Abrams and not the Abrams, the Bradley and M60 in the center of town. And these three are in the church. They have been told, you are staying, you'll be looked after well, but you're staying for a day or two. The Commodore has said no. The priest and the soldier, the priest arguing on behalf of the party, have exchanged words firmly in Polish, and the priest is being ushered out. The Commodore is moving to just walk out of the church, and Soboslaw will have seen a Polish soldier leave the church, and the moment he leaves the front door, he starts running. But turn back into the side church for the moment. So we've got Rostogram and Dalton. What are your thoughts and actions?
Well, my question would be: what is the soldier's justification for half of the supply dump or whatever it is? What's his justification for wanting half?
Okay. Yeah. Do you ask him that, or is that just something in your own mind?
No, it's something that's in my mind that I want to ask. But I'd rather have our Commodore ask it. So I kind of whisper that to her.
Oh, he's already halfway
What
down the.
justification?
He's already
You can be walking
halfway down.
alongside with the Commodore if you want. Whisper that.
Well, I guess maybe I missed it earlier during the conversation, but I don't understand what his reasoning is for wanting half of the supply dump. Is it to let the major go through there, or is it he's just greedy?
He's just greedy because we're planning to go around. We weren't even. The major wasn't even coming through here. She was going around. That was her original intention, and he's being greedy over there.
What about Rostogram? What are your thoughts or actions?
Well,
And he says it out loud enough so that he's heard it.
Sorry, carry on,
wait,
Grable.
that who's heard what? Let me back up a second.
That he called him greedy.
So Commodore Wolf called this Polish soldier greedy? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Rastragam's a bit concerned that there's going to be fire in a House of Gods. She's probably like trying to steady the Commodore, who presumably is still a bit weak from his previous trauma and near death. And she might just kind of. I know he's trying to head toward the door, so maybe she has to kind of get up and jog after him and hope that no one's seeing that as an act of aggression. But she'll have to grab him, just be like, Connor, slow down. Remember, whose side are we on here?
See, the soldiers are all about. These soldiers are more or less all about wanting to attack anyone. They don't want to listen to the priest anyway. He didn't even want to hear him out.
Easy to ignore the words of a dying man.
Yeah. He was ignoring the priest, so why the heck should we wait around if he's just going to ignore the priest anyway?
Well, if
It seems like he just doesn't. He doesn't respect the priest enough to. He says it loud enough. He does not respect the priest enough to hear his words.
Ooh. I'm gonna do a roll in the background. Hang on.
Respect.
Has he still going to? Has he at least stopped to say that, or is he saying that and still moving toward the door? Because Russia Game's kind of like pulling
Yeah.
that. Because she's thinking like if he steps outside,
He's
who knows
still-
what's waiting? There could be a whole.
He's
I don't know. I
he's
don't know if there are
continuing
windows by the
walking
door
outside.
to be able to go.
He
if goes
wants-
Okay.
there.
He's continuing walking.
Okay. Eventually, the priest will call out in English, as he has yet to be taken out. Do not insult him in this way. He is trying to do the best he can. Not leave. No, you can't. If
Commodore.
you force this, it will just be a dozen more dead bodies.
It won't be my fault if he wants to kill me. It's his own fault because I've chosen to walk.
Yes, it will be his fault, but it will be yours as well because you know. Just stop. All you came here with live.
Commodore, there are children in this village. Do you want to risk them being caught in any crossfire by anything we try to start?
I'm planning to leave the village. If he's stopping me, it's his own fault because I'm not planning to shoot anyone. If he wants to shoot somebody, let me tell you,
You are
priest.
more concerned with blame than with life.
Let me tell you, priest. If he wants to shoot me, what does that say to the admiral, the major? She will kill the innocent people in that village for what the commander over there does. She'll automatically blame the civilians in that village.
That
You wanna?
kind of makes the soldier look as though he's thinking about something. Like, nothing else you've said so far has had any dent on him. That is making him think, hang on. You can see the gears turning in his head.
If you don't let me leave, then people in there are gonna starve. They'll get sick, and they will die. It's not the soldiers who will die off first. It'll be them civilians. Why do you think
So this is
I'm
the soldier
trying?
speaking.
Why do you?
You carry
This-
on, Mac.
He says, "Why do you think I'm so wanting to get her out of there quickly? Is so them civilians are gonna have food."
Can leave tomorrow. Still get back them. She will not notice the delay. She's expecting 3 days.
Do you think that there's not a risk that we would be interrogated about what we may have seen here over spending a day
Yeah,
upon our return?
because Gabrielle attacked one of her soldiers. Do you think she is not gonna notice that her men are gonna rat us out there? Gonna tell her and say, "Hey, we're stopped at this place. It's heavily guarded. You should interrogate the Commodore." And the doctor,
There's... Yeah.
you see our predicament right now?
There are gears, again, visibly turning. I'm just going to cut for a moment to outside the church, so only Soboslav can see this. You're sitting in the M113, and there has been a lot of activity around you the whole time. Soldiers, civilians with bits of military equipment moving around. There's a real flurry of activity. But amongst it, after a little while, after that one guy left the church and then started running, you see a bunch of other soldiers run towards the church. They haven't gone in, they're just running towards it. And you also notice... Actually, give me a recon roll to see if you notice the other thing.
Got it.
Okay, good, yeah. You also notice soldiers taking up various key positions in and around the town centre that are well prized to fire at you. These, and when I say you, I don't just mean you, I mean all three vehicles. These include people armed with RPGs. They've got anti-tank weapons. And yeah. But other than that, they're not saying anything to you, they're not shooting. They're not telling anybody to run or get out of the way or sounding any alerts. They're just kind of getting in position.
Hmm.
You do anything about this?
Definitely take a lot of notes and actually not do anything rash and actually keep a good eye out and
Okay.
and probably put myself in a position of being able to immediately get out of the what vehicle am I in again?
You're in the M113. It's the lightly
Yeah,
armed.
to quickly get off of the M113 if anything happens.
Okay. All right. Back inside
So
the
not
church.
anything rash, just kind of prepare myself if anything happens.
Okay. All right. Back inside the church. The priest has managed to sort of pause the person who's carrying him to pause by the door, and there's a lot of not gentle tension. There's sort of hanging in the air tension. Soldier says, "We need what is in that town. Major takes it. She will have far too much power and equipment. It must be in the hands of the Polish people. Cannot let the Major take those supplies. But I have no wish to provoke a bloodbath. So, Commodore, tell me, what solution do you have? Prevents bloodshed? Prevents the Major having those supplies?"
I don't want you to have you specifically. I don't want you to be specifically to have it. If you attack me or my men, I guarantee you, she will slaughter every innocent soul in there for what you've done. And I'm trying to prevent that. And you don't see that innocent lives are going to be at stake because of what you've done. If you take any of that supply, who's going to be punished for that? Yous.
And the men you have with you are supposed to secure the supply?
Yes.
He's sort of looking you in the eye, much like a poker player might. He's sizing you up, trying to work out what you're actually holding in your hand. And eventually say, "Quit." And he'll leave by one of the side doors unless anybody stops him.
He looks at the priest and he says, he says to him, "Don't let him go and get the resources down there."
Looks at you and says, "I can stop anyone I will talk to him, but
I'm
I
trying to
advise.
I'm trying to prevent a plague getting out.
Plague?
I
A
got
chemical
sick.
weapon is not a plague.
It is. Doctor, explain the symptoms I had.
I can explain the symptoms, but the priest, your father is right. This is not a plague, it's just chemical warfare. Slightly different terms.
Chemical warfare. Basically, whoever goes down there, they're gonna get sick.
Unless they have the
And they're gonna
right suit and protection to go down there. Or if they know how to treat it.
And there's no way to treat it.
There's only don't forget the fact that we were lucky to actually get a cure for it, but
yeah.
I say
you were.
Both the lieutenant and the commodore kind of got affected, even when the lieutenant went in with a gas mask.
I go, listen, they will die if they go down there.
The same warning was issued to us, Commodore. I think it's been the fact that cache has not been raided by any party thus far speaks to that warning already.
Yes. I'm trying my best to not get anyone else sick.
What
right
do you
now.
think the Polish what the Polish army is looking for specifically? Do you think that they're looking more for weapons or for medical kits? Is it possible that they're wanting something to the Commodore?
Okay.
I mean, is it possible that maybe what they want and what the Major want are mutually exclusive?
He goes to the priest, he goes, Commander shouldn't argue with us about this. We should work together on this. He sees us as the enemy, but in all actuality, we aren't the enemy. We're trying to save as many lives as possible, but he is so focused on the Major.
I have a question. Do we know if this Polish group has NBC gear to raid the cache or not?
Have not seen any evidence of NBC, but you do also know, just from inference, that these Polish soldiers are not from round here. They have come from somewhere, so you don't know if they're just on their own, if they're part of a bigger thing, or anything along those lines.
So if they don't have NBC gear, how do they intend to raid the cache?
I know the answer to that question, but you're going to have to work that out yourself.
He goes, there's no way, priest. If I don't secure that, if I don't secure it for her, the Polish people will pay.
Although we can see that there's a sizable defense here.
Regardless if it's a sizable defense here, what about the people at the other village? No one really thought about that.
While the senior Polish soldier comes back and says, he looks angry, he looks frustrated, but he eventually says, "You may have your way. We will continue on, and you will have a functionality." Actually, no, he wasn't. He says, "You may continue on. I hope never to have to see any of you again." But he looks glow. He does not look happy. He looks very annoyed by this entire situation. He looks like a man who has been bested.
Yeah. He goes, I'll be on my way. Don't you worry, we won't be bothering you ever again.
The three people who are in the church, so Rostogram, Dalton, and the Commodore, can all make me recon rolls at -2.
All of us?
Just the people in the church.
Okay. Sorry.
-2?
Yeah, -2.
I'm in a C now, so I wouldn't even.
Yeah, so at -2, you'd just be rolling a d6 because you can't go below.
Yeah. Right. I'm trying to remember how to do this.
It's nothing and nothing. All right, okay. So, Dalton and Wolf. Yeah, everything's fine. Rostogram.
Yep.
There's Rostogram. There's something else going on. Like there's something that the Polish officer. Something off. I'm not quite sure what it is. To continue with the poker analogy from earlier, it's not like, aha, he's bluffing, but it's like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I don't know what he's holding. Something is slightly off.
She won't say anything to his face.
Okay. In that case, you will be escorted out of the church by armed Polish troops and toward your vehicles.
Good. And he says to Polish, I hope I get the bits and pieces back for my things outside the village.
Interesting that you mentioned that. There'll be like nods, but yeah, you will be taken back to your vehicles, and it's interesting. One of the things that you see as you head back out, and Soboslav will be able to see this as well. I mentioned earlier that there was a truck with a bunch of civilians sort of pressing at the back of it, and they were yelling quite a bit. And there was a disproportionate number of children in there. After a while, the soldiers seem to relent. They look uncertain, and then they relent, and they start taking children and loading them into the truck. And it's not as though the civilians are trying to prevent them. Civilians are actively handing them children, and sometimes the children don't want to leave. Or be put in the truck, and the civilians are pushing them away. Like, no, you've got to get in the truck.
Yeah. He's gonna hop in his truck and he goes, we need to start going. Lieutenant, we need to start going. Now.
Any objections? Any last moment comments or thoughts before you head on?
Rostergam's just going to tell the Commodore and the sergeant just that there's something that man isn't telling us. The commander.
Something's off.
I agree.
Like, shoving in the kids in there.
It's almost
in
like
that
they're
truck.
trying to. It's almost like they're trying to evacuate them. Do you think that they mean to try and attack the NATO base at Praska? While we're trying to recover the cash and...
I'm really skeptical of not leaving the defenses down at the base. Okay. Lieutenant, he yells out, let's go.
Settled everything?
Right.
Alright. Get in.
Let's just put your foot down fast.
Oh, as a
Alright.
side note, Soboslaw alone could make me a full recon roll.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
excellent. One thing that you observed, you kind of heard it more than you saw it, is 2 engines revving and leaving the town. They sounded like very small, very light engines. Because you got 2 successes, you can tell that they're motorcycles.
I do believe they pulled up with motorcycles. Let's just go.
Yes, quickly. We can't wait.
Okay, so the convoy
What about all
goes
the
through the
What about all the people with the RPG?
Oh, yeah, all
Sorry.
the people with the RPGs, you're quite correct. Soboslaw, you'll note that they appear tense, but they don't really do anything. And after a while, there are a couple of soldiers who sort of are running around in between these various people, and the people with the RPGs appear to relax a bit. They don't leave, but they don't appear to be as immediately ready for battle as before.
Let's go.
So it doesn't look like they're going to start shooting at us, right?
No,
Okay.
let's go.
Yeah. Let's go.
Before something does happen, he doesn't want to see our faces, so let's go.
Pile into your various vehicles and leave. You head southwest without incident. You're a little way outside of the town. You've got a couple of Polish soldiers who are walking with you. They keep you at walking pace. But once you're over a crest, they give you back the vital firing components for your weapons and then leave. They don't help you reinstall them. They just give them back to you and walk off. It'll be a tech roll to successfully reinstall them, 1 for each vehicle.
He goes, Lieutenant, just say thank you to him so they don't think we're rude.
Yeah, I will do that as in Polish.
They say thank you back. They don't appear to hold any particular animosity to you, but they're very keen to then get back to their town, and they start jogging off. And yeah, you can give me 3 tech rolls if you decide to rearm the vehicle. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so
Seeing
for the first
improvement.
vehicle, yeah. So for the first vehicle, which I'm going to say is your own M113, do not successfully get it back in working order. That something's wrong there. You know it's not busted. Maybe you can try again later, but for now, no. The M60 and the Bradley, however, are restored to full functionality without much difficulty. It takes you time. It's not quick work. Takes a shift, but it's done. And then you can continue on your way with at least 2 fighting vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, I really.
So when you say an M60, do you mean a tank?
Yes.
Yes, we do have a tank with us. Okay.
Yeah, we have a fucking tank.
He goes to Lieutenant.
I'm used to the M60 being a machine gun. So.
He goes to Lieutenant. I didn't want any animosity with the actual soldiers. It's just the commander is an asshole.
How much
You
of
had-
an asshole was he?
He wanted half of the damn loot in the town. And he was willing to put his own people at risk to get it.
It was something less.
Okay.
Alright, look.
I gotta say,
carry on.
He goes, I'm glad the priest was there to calm him down a bit.
Oh, at least. Is he well?
No, he won't last much longer.
There's nothing we can do.
No. It's radiation. It's radiation. He's got a tumor.
Radiation poisoning.
Yeah, tumor, cancer, whatever it is. It's been affecting him for quite some time. And he's saying this while we're actually continue going along.
Keep moving, yeah.
Yeah, we're still
well,
moving.
You head southwest without incident. You cross over the train tracks with no sign of a train in any direction. And yeah, you keep going. You will head towards Sestakova without further issue. And as you drive into the town, everyone give me a recon roll. Okay. So Soboslav driving, and presumably Dalton on the non-fiction. Oh, and Wolf actually. So yeah, okay. Everybody other than Rostogram, either by sticking your head out where the 50 caliber
Plus,
is.
I got intelligence as well.
Yeah. Or you driving. You don't notice extra forces or anything along those lines, but you notice that some of the dog bodies from your previous entry on this axis aren't quite where you think they should be. Are there too few? Are there too many? Are they in a different place? You're not quite sure, but they've changed.
Yeah. He's like, there's something wrong. You see it? Used to? Guys see it? The dogs. There's something
The
wrong.
fact they're acting rather weird.
Yeah. Let's get to the base.
Oh, hey. Well, you get to the base without issue. Nobody attempts to stop you. There is no issue, as I said. And when you get there, everything is exactly how you left it. The vast majority of the base is still unexplored, but you have found a big underground cache, and you do have access to the motor pool and a vehicle workshop.
He goes, let's get the vehicle in, and he tells the two other vehicles to park where the gates are, so they have a clear line.
Okay, you broke up there, but I think you were saying about setting up the vehicles with clear lines of sight.
Yeah. You see the two entryways, one on each side. I'm gonna try and put them
right
on each side. Make sure they put it
Absolutely.
on this.
Okay, so yeah, they do that, and there's actually little kind of vehicle hides, as it were. Not quite dug in because it's concrete. You're not going to dig in, but fortifications for a vehicle to park in and have extra protection are conveniently in those locations. There are no vehicles parked in them, and they can park up in those without difficulty. It's getting quite late in the day. Do you want to set up camp here, or do you want to try and press on, or do something else?
Well, we're gonna have to set up camp here for the night because I don't want to press on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explore the compound any further, or do you just rest and then deal with any exploration or other events in the morning?
I would alert the soldiers on. We may hear. We haven't fully explored, but there are dogs that would come and inspect our vehicles. So can we be on extra guard, please?
Okay. Well, they take note of your instruction. and they do set that up. There's a couple of observation towers as part of the compound, and they go up in those. They set up, and there are floodlights and so forth, but there's no power to them, so they're having to rely on their naked eyes. But unless any of you do anything extra, then as the moon comes up and the sun goes down over the long-dead city of Sestakova, everything is eerily quiet and calm. The dogs appear sedated on this cloudless night. But
So I have a question real quick. This city map we're on is Sestakova?
no, so the map you're currently on is the town of Krespice. Sestakova is far too big to be on a single map. However, for whatever reason something were to happen in an urban environment, I would be moving you over to this map. And it gives you an idea of what the terrain is like.
I got you.
So, yes, the moon comes up. There is a quiet night, but you are undisturbed. Rostogram, please give me a medical aid roll. Just flat. Excellent. Commodore, rather than recovering 1 day's worth of critical injury time, you recover 2 days' worth of critical injury time due to Rostogram's immense success. And everybody needs to mark off a unit of food and a unit of water from their plates. The next day, the sun rises slowly over the jagged artificial horizon of ruined buildings and abandoned structures. Every now and again, there's the rumble of a slide of rubble somewhere, concrete scraping as a rat, a dog, or some other creature shifts the debris about, but nothing seems to approach you. Nothing seems to be causing you any difficulty. And sun rises on a summer's day in the city. As ever, the days are a little colder than the summers that you're used to, but it's still unambiguously summer. Okay.
He goes, how much is left in the tank?
In the tanks of all of the vehicles, there's enough fuel for easily a short journey back to Krespice, not Krespice, Praska, going via Krespice, the way you just came. Or they could probably go about halfway the long way round. In order to get them to go longer than that, they're going to need refueling.
He wants to try and... He really doesn't want to go through Krespice, but he did ask for them to, if he can go through Krespice to... He leaves the 2 armored vehicles back here to protect the supplies. Okay, he goes, Lieutenant, do you want to drive which vehicle do you want to drive?
I mean, the M113, even if we would have to still need to keep an eye on the M113. It still might take another. It might take a little bit of others to get it to full working condition, so I believe I'll still handle the M113.
Okay.
As a matter of interest, if you raise this with the NPC soldiers, it's been made very clear to them that vehicle swapping is not an option. They are to stay with the Bradley and the M60. That they are theirs. However, you do have a bunch of Russian vehicles around you. If any of those take your fancy,
vehicles.
One
you can
of
take
you,
this of you.
Whichever one of you is best, or whichever one of you volunteers, can can make me a survival or recon roll, your choice. Only one of you.
Hmm. I'll go recon.
Okay, who's gonna? Oh, all right. Well, you did it, but you got successes, and you got 2. Okay. Due to that recon roll, as you are rummaging through the motor pool in the morning, looking about, like, no dogs have snuck in or anything along those lines, you're able to find a decent number, not a huge amount, but a decent number of Soviet trucks, UAZs, which are their Jeep equivalents, and other light vehicles or logistics vehicles, but then tucked right at the back, behind various crates. You didn't notice it the first time round. An intact looking MP1. That's the heaviest vehicle that's here.
Hey, Lieutenant, you want to drive this heaviest vehicle there is? Leave our vehicle here, and you can drive this one.
Oh.
He points to
I'm just gonna-
it.
Mind if I have a look?
Yeah, I'm just
He
going to put
points
it
to
in the
it.
chat for those of you who don't know what a BMP1 looks like. Loading. It'll get there.
It says it loud enough for the doctor and the sergeant.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the hell is that?
BMP1. All of you who had professional military training rather than the
Yeah, that
oh
was
my
a
god
joke.
panic.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I really couldn't help myself but to make a little Full Metal Jacket reference.
He goes, and you want to drive one of those? It's Russian. Oh?
Is the repair manual also going to be in Russian?
Out of character, yes.
He goes, mate, it's a high chance it is, okay? Because it looks like it's Russian.
I suppose I'll have a look.
Ruster Gamble turned to Dalton and just be like, there you go, I need to learn Russian and Polish.
How do I do this? I just hop into this majestic beauty here. Wait, hold on.
Lieutenant, I think I'll leave you
two
two
if there's
alone.
any any chemicals that are inside that might have might not make the experience pleasant.
You're learning. But yeah. So now, without specialist equipment, there's not really much you can do to detect that stuff other than be victim to it. But if you take sensible
NBC
precautions,
training?
like open the doors, back out, let it air out for ages, etc. Nothing happens. You tentatively poke your head in or something along those lines. You're fine. It's not affected.
Good.
As a side note, lots of these vehicles are at least supposed to be, with huge air quotes around the word "supposed to be," resistant to the effects of chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons.
Oh, goody.
The question I have is capacity-wise, cargo capacity-wise,
Yep.
which one is bigger? The
I'm just turning to that
BMP1
now.
or the MM13?
I know in reality the M113 is bigger, but I'm just seeing what the rules will say. I mean,
Don't we still have
BMP
gear on the 113?
Yeah, you still got gear in there, but it's like backpacks and so forth. It's you can fit what you have in the M113 in the BMP1. There will be less free space, but there will still be some.
I'll have to drive the truck.
How many people
If
can
you
the
want
BMP carry?
MP should... Well, it can carry the T. I used to know this off the top of my head. It can, however, carry... Fine.
He goes, Lieutenant, you want to drive that, or...
I'll do it.
Okay, I'll drive the truck.
So it has got a cargo... Oh no, that's the BTR I'm looking at. Wrong one. There we go. It's got a cargo capacity it can carry 7 people. Its crew capacity is 3 plus 7, which means that it's got a slot for driver, gunner, loader, and 7 passengers.
11 total.
Yeah. 10 total. 10 total.
So the Commodore jumps in the truck with the fuel on it.
Okay. Yep. And that thing, when you get it, because you repaired it last time, when you check its various meters and indicators, the big old fuel truck is full. There's a lot in there.
Yeah, he waits till the other vehicles started up.
Yeah. Subazar, give me a tech roll, because it has been sitting idle for potentially years. Okay. That explosion only counts if it was a push, which it wasn't. So with 2 successes, it'll take you a shift's worth of time. But there are teething troubles, like the odd bit that is rusted through that needs doing. You might need to flush some pipes and some systems. You definitely need to charge the battery. But it is fundamentally in working order. And with time, you can get it moving. It won't take the whole day.
Right, might take a bit.
My only concern about taking a Soviet vehicle is being misidentified as Soviet military.
Oh, the Commodore was waiting for us to bring the truck, so she'll notice the fuel truck.
I'm not going to pretend that Dalton's concern is not a valid concern, but if you choose to do this, then yeah.
He goes, "Oh, great. Hey, can we paint over that? Can we paint UN on that? Be on the safe side."
What would stop a regular Soviet military group from doing the same thing when they're trying to infiltrate?
See, the problem is
the MP1 to be MP1.
I have an absolutely horrible idea.
Well, oh god, you're not going to paint it in the stars and stripes, are you? If so, I may be cross.
No.
that would be even more funnier.
Absolute detail. Make it the most British style paint one could possibly imagine.
Totally going for that now.
I'm not even sure what that looks like, and I'm British.
Well, basically something that only someone in the British military would kind of have. And it's just, since technically, the Ruskies are a little too, obsessive with the Americans, so they don't, I have a feeling they don't really pay attention to the British.
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
An interesting plan.
Make it as British as possible on a Soviet
Exactly.
vehicle.
Yes, I like that idea. So much British that even the Russians wouldn't even dare touch it.
And amplify
there's
the
precedent in history for
capabilities.
captured vehicles being pressed into service, but
yeah, I mean,
this is end times, so
yeah, Dalton double right. There is precedence, and also this is the end times, so people are incredibly desperate. And hey, uniform confusion is always a thing. So okay.
And not to mention, it's not that silly to be making tea in a tank.
Exactly.
No, it is standard equipment in lots of British vehicles.
So why not put that in there?
Okay. How do you plan on making this thing look British? Are you just going to be painting the Union flag on it? Are you going to be what?
Like,
because I'll
paint
tell you this,
the
like
what?
British vehicle camouflage
Yeah,
just looks like camouflage. You're not gonna really be able to go, oh, that's British.
Actually,
I
think I have something. I think I have something. Okay, I'll give you a second.
Have we found paint to actually do that with, anyways?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm in this depot. If you're willing to spend time searching, you find paint.
You know what? Our best bet is to can we just stick like when we get closer to camp, can we just stick Dalton's head out the window?
I mean, from the kind of range at which you are often engaging vehicles, that's not going to look like Dalton. That's just going to look like a head.
Oh, great! Can we put
An American head, not even a British one.
Can we actually put like the fuel truck in front of the?
You can.
So you're saying I
There's
can't
nothing
put in a
preventing you from doing that.
multi-terrain pattern on the entire fucking tank?
If you're going to find the paint, yeah, I go. We got 2 people who can find the paint for you while you're fixing up the tank.
Oh wait, hold on. No, the MTP is fucking 2010. Give me a second. Actually, no. In reality, the DPM. Fuck.
Put it this way: the doctor doesn't have to worry about the Commodore. He's just sitting in the truck, not wobbling around.
Okay, alright. Alright, so you're going to be painting British
A DPM.
EDU camouflage patterns on a tank. Okay. Alright. Alright, I mean, I'm gonna let you do that. I'm gonna say that it takes, you have to press in several of the NPCs to help you do it in time, but if you press in half of them, so they're all working on it like a scene out of Paint Your Wagon, you can get it done in another shift's worth of time.
I'm gonna seriously. If my character had a camera, he would totally take a video recording or camera, take a photo, just to make it like.
Give me a survival roll. When you say that, if they had a camera, you'd take a picture. Give me a survival roll. Yeah, nah, you don't find one.
It would have been more funnier just to take a photo of it and go, "Yeah, this is a keepsake."
Spend a merry afternoon painting a Soviet APC to look weirdly British. And you're not quite sure how successful this is, but you have done it. And oh my god. And so I'm assuming that your plan is to abandon the M113 and then take the BMP-1 and the fuel truck and go.
Yep.
If you leave now, you will chiefly be driving through the night because it took time, particularly to paint the APC.
He goes, "We can rest for another night." He's gonna just rest in the truck. Not.
Actually, okay, I think I have one last little thing.
Yep.
I know it's gonna be fucking stupid, but just casually paint a tiny little insignia of the Corps of Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers as a.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
you can do that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yep, you can do that. It will not be easily detectable at long range, but up close, people will be confused by this. You can do that. Okay, so, Creeple, you were saying something.
If we are leaving the M113 for presumably someone else to come in and take it, it might be wise to remove some of the hardware for the firing mechanisms on the weapons that are mounted on this
I wasn't able to fix it, though.
Basically
I still have the parts.
Basically the people we dropped off, brought here, they're staying here. So
The plan is to
yeah,
leave the Bradley, the M60, and the people who came with you here,
yeah.
including Sarah Tolbeck.
Is Private Crispin here too? Out of character, I forgot to ask about that last time.
He is missing vital fingers and is on administrative duties.
He's missing fingers. Thought I saved him.
Donnie?
Aw.
They got blown off. They're not coming back.
Ouch.
Ouch.
I might as well get up
Yeah,
and go.
his bones were shattered in his hand, and the surgery to recover them came to that they were irrecoverable.
I see.
Yeah, he's my character's just sleeping in the truck that he's gonna drive.
Okay. You can do that. It's not a sort of continent to continent truck with a sleeper cabin quarter in it or anything along those lines. It's not that style. So if you do that, you're going to be very awkward and uncomfortable the next day, and I will impose penalties. But you can do that.
Okay, he'll need help getting out of the truck to go to the M13 to sleep in there.
Excellent. Okay, so the day passes. You are on schedule. The Commodore wasn't expecting to hear from you until the next day anyway, so you're not aware of anything particularly pressing. Everyone in the party, except for the Commodore, who's too sick to keep watch, can give me a recon roll. Okay.
And if they point it out to me, I can I apply the intelligence roll.
Unfortunately,
Intelligence.
yes, I'm aware. Unfortunately, that's not going to particularly help. Rostogram and Soboslaw, everything is fine. You know, there's no reason to suspect anything. However, Dalton can't quite put your finger on it, and you certainly couldn't point at anything. But you could have sworn that at some point you saw a human figure, like a shadow, moving at like a long way down a long street. It's not close to you, but it's just the wrong shape of black to be an animal, and it's gone almost as soon as you see it, and you never see it again, and there's never any indication of it. Nothing bad happens, but there's a slightly uncomfortable feeling throughout the rest of the night, like someone's looking at the back of your neck.
I'm going to let the team know that I saw something that was not an animal, but they need to be aware that there's someone creeping around. Be on guard.
Polish.
Might explain why we've had such an easy time making it here.
Well, it could be, but they were unidentifiable at that range.
I believe it's going to be Polish because why else would we get out of there so quickly?
Do you do anything about this at that moment in the night? Do you do anything about it in the dawn? Because nothing happens.
Basically,
what's your plan?
when the soldiers wake up in the dawn, I will alert them that there's been somebody scouring around the edges of town to be on alert while we're away.
Excellent. Okay. Dr. Rostogram, please make me a medical aid roll flat. Excellent, that's enough. The critical injury of the Commodore again heals 2 days rather than just 1 day. So that's good. Everybody mark off 1 unit of food and 1 unit of, I was about to say fuel, water from your sheets. Just drinking petrol. And
Quick question.
yeah, carry on.
You might have said this and I missed it, but how far away did that shadow that Dalton saw, like how far away from our position did he see it?
A good long distance. In terms of yards, I'd probably put it somewhere at probably not 100 yards, but more than 50. Had this been in a more rural environment, you would not have seen it. The only reason why you saw it is because it was against like cold, hard, flat, open street concrete, and even then you only barely saw it.
Okay, so no reason
Okay.
to try and go out and investigate.
Hey, I'll be right back. I need to do something real quick.
Yeah, my character will be, after telling the soldiers that he'll hop in the truck, so they're aware of there's somebody scurrying around the city.
All right. Well, they take that note, but you can head off. And
Yep.
you plan on sticking just to hard tarmac and going straight back to Braska via Crespis.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just move the travel map. Okay, so you're set out again. Early morning light. You leave the town by the same way that you came in. And again, there are no issues. Nothing is wrong. The dogs don't also appear to be in like different places this time. They're where you remember them being, particularly when you then paid attention when you thought something was wrong. And you leave Sestakova without a problem. As you head towards Crespis, again, the roads are smooth. Cross the train line, there's no train. And as you approach the town, Polish soldiers wave you through. They're expecting you. They are waving you through. They want you to slow, but they don't ask you to stop.
Or ask why we have
We're
a
slow.
vehicle.
We're slow, so we aren't rushing through there, so they know we aren't going to try and injure any people.
Actually, yeah, you're right about the BMP. Thank you for reminding me, Instagram. When they see the fuel truck up front, they're thinking, oh yeah, that's the fuel truck we're expecting. Then they see a really weird BMP and they start going, stop, like flagging you down. Like, holy shit, these aren't the people we thought they were. And weapons start appearing. They are very, very agitated.
Yeah, he stops.
Okay. You'll have soldiers like run up, weapons very much pointed in direction, and they look really confused when they get close enough to see that it's you. Like, what?
He goes, we can disarm the thing for you. Assuming the lieutenant would have done it by now, and you can walk us through town if you want.
They speak in Polish, so Nisobosla will get this. You have Soviet vehicle. You had NATO vehicle before. What has happened?
Lieutenant! He yells back at
Is
Lieutenant.
A-okay? At the moment.
Right.
Had to go do something.
I did not hear that. Okay. I mean, once they can see your faces, they don't appear to want to shoot anyone. They will, however, gesture to the back of the BMP like they want to look inside.
Yeah, he'll allow them to look in, and he'll let the lieutenant take out the pin so they can walk us up, and they have the pin so we aren't going to shoot at anyone or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And by the way, I should point out, in terms of the weaponry of your BMP, you've got a rather nice automatic cannon and you've got a machine gun. This is not one of the BMPs that is fitted with the anti-tank rocket launcher or missile launcher. It's not one of those ones. But, as a side note, by the way, the BMP, as a professional soldier, you would know this. One of the capabilities that it is supposed to have, and pretty reliably does have, is this is amphibious.
Okay.
So you no longer need a bridge to cross a river.
Yeah. Yep. It's all cool. He won't mention it to the lieutenant just yet.
But okay, all right. without knowing when Nostro's going to be back, I'll say that once they open up the back and they look inside and they satisfy themselves that it's just you guys, there are no Soviet soldiers in there or anyone they don't recognize, they will, they'll gladly carry on.
He'll just go, I'm more than happy to show you.
Once they're satisfied of that, they'll take the little vital parts of the firing mechanism, various weapons, and will walk you through town again, and without issue. This time, things in the middle of town seem calmer. Lots of the trucks are gone, and a lot of the activity is not there anymore, but you do still see more people than you're used to walking about, but they're not in a hurry anymore. They don't appear to be doing anything.
He continues going along at walking pace until they get to the other side.
All right. Well, you get through to the other side without issue, and they give you your various little pieces of equipment back, so you can make your vehicles functional again, and allow you to go on your way in absolute accordance with the previous agreement. That was weirdly easy.
Yeah, and then basically he's gonna, once they're out of range, he would have made sure Nostra says thank you to them. The lieutenant says thank you to them, and then basically continue along, speeding up towards the town. The other town.
All right.
They're being awfully nice about just letting us pass through, aren't they?
It's just us, our group.
A little too nice.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that... What would they gain from letting us just pass through without an incident?
No problem with the NATO soldiers.
As a side note, by the way, your cargo in this world would not, how to phrase it, it would not be unjustified to have a Mad Max Fury Road style chase over one articulated lorry worth of fuel. What you are carrying is worth the lives of vast numbers of people. Your cargo is unbelievably precious, and they have just let it go.
Yeah, I think they probably got more fuel than they realize they have. So he's going to continue along to find out what's happened at the next city.
Do you plan on doing anything to identify yourself to these people as you are approaching?
Oh, he's going to make sure the white flag's up on his vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And the tank, so they know they aren't hostile, so they don't assume that. So they don't attack the damn fuel tank.
Yeah,
we're on our way back to Praska. That's all.
Okay, that's good.
They've been letting us through every checkpoint with no incident.
Yeah,
but I guess we're going ahead, springing traps. I guess what we're gonna do.
Nothing appears to have happened. Nothing's blown up. I would remind you as well, you have a little thing that begins with an R.
Ends with an O?
Yes.
I was going to actually ask if we had a radio that was on the right frequency to be able to contact the neighbors.
Okay, I'm gonna radio through, say, hey, we're coming up to the...
It doesn't take much. You're able to sort of move the radio over. Weirdly, not as many Soviet vehicles as you assume, particularly earlier ones, had radios as standard. It was a bit of a problem. I'm going to say that you're able to, with a bit of jiggery pokery, and as part of getting the BMP working, move your radio over from the M113.
And plus my handheld radio, I would radio through, say, hey, we're coming up, we're approaching.
Okay. So, yeah, you do that, and you radio in. Only got short-range radios, even the vehicle one is just a short-range one. But yeah, you radio in. That combined with the white flags, when you're not fired upon as you approach Razka, with the sun pretty much at its zenith in the sky at this point. And after a couple of relatively brief checks at a checkpoint, you are allowed in to Razka, and soldiers in particular are coming out from whatever piece of work they might have been doing. They're coming out of buildings, they're coming out of tents, they're coming in from essentially anything other than guard duty. And they are very excited. You are being applauded as you drive in with your great triumphant truck full of fuel. There is a positive air of celebration as you come into the town of Praska.
He deliberately parks in the middle of town, and he gets out of the truck. And does he see the major around?
Not immediately, but after a minute or two, the major comes out of the town hall. Celebration already in swing, and the major appears satisfied from the slight smile on her face.
He goes, "The area is secure, so you ready to start fueling up the vehicles? Because I really want to start moving. Get us over there immediately."
Commodore, you have made me very happy with this news. We will, of course, check the fuel's quality, but once we are satisfied of that, we will begin fueling the vehicles here immediately, making ready for our journey.
Yeah, Dalton noticed something last night. I made the soldiers aware, back at the base. He noticed somebody, but we don't know who it is.
I see. Someone unknown in the town.
Yeah.
Curious. Did you encounter any other complications in your journey?
There seems to be a commander over at the other village. The priest is more convinced on our side, but the Polish soldier, he was adamant wanting the resources because
Russian Game is going to
that.
like just kind of glance at the Commodore but say nothing. Just like, oh no, I don't think the Major knew about those
But,
soldiers.
I pretty much told him no.
I see. And how many soldiers did the Polish seem to have in Crispis?
When we actually went through, there was a lot. But when we came back through, it seems like there barely is any.
She looks
Calm down.
puzzled by that, and she looks to the whole rest of the party to see if you've got anything to add.
There were some that were taking positions. Some of them had anti-tank weapons.
But when we went through, they didn't seem hostile to us. But if you went through with all your men, I don't think they're gonna be too kind.
See. So do you recommend we take the southern road via Opole and Dobdozien?
Yeah, I agree. But something's off. He let us go too quickly.
She narrows her eyes, says, and that road is Have you scouted that road through a pole?
No, that's the problem. I have suspicions that they're probably planning something, but I'm not too sure.
See. Well, it will take a few days for us to be entirely ready to move. We will leave a small garrison here in Praska, but the vast majority of our force will move to Sestakova in a large convoy. I was going to suggest that you remain here with us days to rest and recover whilst the loading and preparation is completed. But there is a need to scout these roads. If you are feeling prepared, Commodore, then I would suggest that tomorrow you begin scouting ahead on the route that we are to take.
I agree. We'll start doing that immediately tomorrow.
Thank you, Commodore. You have proved great assistance to me. Not soon be forgotten.
Thank you.
Meantime, and she sort of gestures to the whole group. Now, all of you are free for the rest of the day. You shall have no duties assigned, and you are to leave tomorrow when you feel yourself ready. I see that there is no battle damage on your vehicles. You ran into no combat?
No, the soldiers are at the other area will be quite there's no power over there, so we'll have to engineer here will have to find a generator to start up or find the source of the power.
I understand. Well, since you did not become engaged, I will not provide you with any further ammunition or weaponry. However, you are free, of course, to relax here. I will see to it that you are all given the best of food tonight and a ration of our rare alcohol supplies each as my personal thank you to you all. And you may head out on and when you feel ready to scout out the road. I would request that stay in contact. We will send out a second wave of scouts behind you. They should remain within radio range of you at all times. Ideally, you will stay in contact with them to keep us all apprised of how safe it is.
Yes, Major.
Very good. Thank you all. And with that, unless any of you have anything further, she will leave.
Nothing from the doctor.
Right. Well, in that case, a little later in the day, those of you who wish to eat in the officers' mess and who are allowed to eat in the officers' mess will be permitted. So anyone who chooses not to or who is ineligible is going to have the officers' food brought to them, and will all be given a ration of vodka each as a bit of a thank you from the major. When I say a ration,
Yeah.
I mean a bottle. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I was assuming it's a bottle.
Yeah. You're getting it. Yeah, you're getting a bottle of vodka each. Please don't drink it all in one night.
Nah.
Ross drinking him debates telling the person bringing her the bottle that they can have it, but then she kind of thinks about it and goes, or she decides to take it, but she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be drinking any of this. Someone else might need it. Could be good for medicinal uses.
Yeah.
Everything else runs out. It's too bad it's not bourbon.
Well, if you,
I hear the sergeant really likes his bourbon.
That's right.
well, at least it'll be good. Good for if you need to get somebody to drink it while you're stitching him up.
Important
Yeah.
point.
Plus, he'll be
Okay.
sitting in. He'll sit in the mess hall. The officers to see if there's any new comments or something like that.
Well, there's a lot of new commentary, but it's all directed your way. The various officers are expressing their thanks to you. They're asking you about, what happened whilst you were out. They're talking to you about what occurred, and there's a real tone of optimism in all the conversation you have that evening.
He goes, "We haven't fully scouted out the main where our HQ will be, but where the supplies are, we only got a glimpse. I got a glimpse what's in there, but there's a lot. Enough for years."
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, I'm guessing it's all Russian crap, but we can still use that, even if we have to switch over to Russian weapons. An AK with ammunition is better than an M16 with none.
Yep. And it's just laying around.
Fantastic. And was it just weapons and ammunition, or was it other supplies as well?
Food, medicine.
Start talking about medicine. One of the people in the officer's mess, he just sort of leans back in his chair, looks up towards the ceiling, and just says, "Praise God."
There'll be a lot of medicine. We didn't get all of it out of there because of we still need to actually have somebody fully geared to go hazmat suit to go and get all the stuff, but yeah.
The one who said "Praise God" looks over and says, "Was there anesthetic?"
Ask the. We did bring a bag back with instructions.
Out of character, there'd be a tiny amount of anesthetic in there, but because the officer you were talking to says, we're getting to the point where we're starting to have to do surgeries without putting people under. We're getting to the point where people are dying of infections that became no longer a problem in the year 1900.
Put it this way, the amount of stuff we got out of there was small compared to how much is left in there.
That's good to hear. You may have just saved us all, Commodore.
Yeah. The best person to ask what stuff is in there is my lieutenant here. He points over. Didn't you run in there?
Nostray?
Yeah.
Assuming you're eating in the officer's mess, the Commodore just asked you a question.
What was the question?
Didn't you go into the vault to get the medicine? Because he was talking about medicine.
Yes.
Is there, how much is still left in there? Do you know?
Well, I know that there was definitely quite a decent amount, enough to actually stock up a lot of things, but the instructions as well as the labels are Russian. That's the only little issue we have.
Well, that is a problem, but we'll be able to get around that. I'm sure we got someone who speaks Russian, and he sort of looks around the table, and and one person says, "Did the Major speak Russian? I think she speaks Russian." And then somebody says, "I think she does. Someone on her staff does. He always knows how to do about that, though. Nah, the Russian language, it ain't gonna be a problem. We'll work that out."
he looks to see where the major is. Is she here? Like, when he looks where she normally sits.
The major is going to be joining us tonight. She sorry, that's out of character, not in character. The major is not going to be joining us tonight. She is very animated at what has been discovered, and I believe she could not be torn away from her work preparing for the transfer.
He finishes up. Is the major in her usual spot in the HQ?
Oh, I believe she is, last time any of us looked.
Yeah, I'll go over there and see if she speaks Russian. And he takes the handbook over.
Okay. When you do that, and now I actually have to check, but she has a proper character sheet. I can't remember if I gave her the ability to speak Russian. Yes. So when you go over there and you ask her if she can speak Russian, she smiles and says, "Hang on." She smiles, turns around, and when you ask her if she can speak Russian, she just says, "Oh, konechno, jestevesteveno."
Ah, perfect. You can actually translate this for the medical staff so they can know what the medical stuff what's in this bag. He points to the bag. I know it's a little, but there's a lot more medical stuff down there, and it's all in Russian. That's the problem.
That is to be expected. It is a Russian supply base, after all. And she looks at the manual and says, "Oh, yes, I should be able to translate this. There are a few words in here that are very technical, chemical formulae and the like. I must confess, my Russian does not necessarily extend to that level. However, I should be able to work it out. It will take several days, however, so it will be something I do at a later time."
Yeah. You might be sitting on it for a while because of we still need to, when we get over there, we'll have to clean it out, the vault, because it's still highly, if you go down there, you're gonna get infected.
The chemical weapons are still over the vault, I see. Are the
Yeah.
people able to get close enough to at least guard it so no one else can get in?
Yep.
See. Well, we still lack NVC equipment. That is something we are going to have to solve. But that is a problem for after we arrive there. Now that we know that we can at least enter the city without becoming exposed, we'll be able to hold the location and then seek the NVC suits.
Yes, that's what I was thinking because we haven't explored majority of the HQ. We could end up finding the suit itself in there. We're able to find the filter, but and the mask. So I'm assuming we'll find the whole suit there.
She'll nod and say, "I hope so, although a mask and an NBC suit are two very, very different things."
What I found out about the tanker we brought in, that is a protects against some biological weapons. So I'm assuming they had some NPC gear.
Out of character, it was the APC, not the tanker.
Oh,
Yeah,
APC.
the APC is the Russians designed them. They designed all their vehicles of that era in theory, to be able to work in a chemical, nuclear, biological war zone because they just assumed those weapons would be used. It wasn't great, but better than nothing. The civilian fuel tanker, however, no.
Yeah, he's just assuming it's yeah.
One of the problems that some of the T-70s had when they were in a particular that mode, because they had to activate certain filters and close certain things. I mean, it was already swelteringly hot inside a T-70, but it got even hotter in a T-70, and you were supposed to be wearing some of your protective gear anyway, and as a result of which, crews would just like pass out from heat stroke and that kind of affair.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And so she says, "Well, that is most encouraging. We shall see what we shall see. In the meantime, I will continue with my work." And she gestures to a mass of papers on her desk, and says, "Is there anything else I can assist you with, Commodore?"
No, I'll just go and get some sleep.
"Thank you, and I wish you every luck, piece of fortune, good fortune in the morning."
Yes. I hope so.
"Good night, Commodore." And then she just sort of turns her back and keeps going on. Right.
And he would make the comment, "Don't forget sleep."
She smiles. You don't see her smile, but she smiles at that. That she keeps on with her work.
And he goes to bed.
Excellent. Is there anything anybody wants to do before the dawn?
Does Eugenia know about the priest's condition?
Well, she knows probably that he's sick, but she won't know the recent developments in his condition.
Then Dr. Rostergam would want to pay her a visit and just update her on that.
Yeah, when you do that...
Oh,
carry on, Mac.
I was going to say, I was hoping you would do that because that's why I brought you in. So you could tell her.
You're welcome.
When you do that, she looks visibly upset. She doesn't start crying or anything like that, but she looks upset, sad, shaken, and her eyes go to the ground a little bit. She says, Oh, I do hope he can last while yet. The world still needs men like father, and we certainly need him now."
Mm-hmm. Rostergam would nod in
Thank
agreement.
Thank you for taking the time to tell me. You seem affected by his condition as well.
Yes, it's something, I don't know. It's something that I've seen many times. Even before I came here. But
She looks at... Carry on.
But he matters to me.
She nods. Says, "I was told at school before the war started that it's impossible to get better. You never, ever get better. Is that true?"
In my experience, outside of the miraculous, as far as the natural world is concerned at this point, we have not uncovered that secret.
She looks down. Says, "Well, if anyone in this hellish world deserves a miracle, it would be him.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose he also deserves to die." Then she holds up a hand as though she realizes how horrible that sounds. "No, not like that. Not like that. But just so he goes somewhere else. He doesn't need to be punished by staying here anymore."
I understand what you mean by that. And in his case, he certainly is going to a better place. That isn't true for everybody.
Say he matters to you. Only been here a short time. How How does he matter to you?
I suppose in some ways he reminds me a bit of the priest that I used to know back home. But he also just has a way of making me think about what I've accepted as true. I mean, you have to understand, I was expecting a very different future. Well, she holds up a hand. I suppose all of us were expecting a very different future than the one that we have. But, his ideas on... He always brings up that the world today is not going to be divided as much by nation or by allegiance, and to some extent that is not the case right now. Could it be someday? I mean, I know that part of my faith, part of the history behind that faith, there was a time when that was the case. But still, it's... And I just feel like that there are many times that my actions have wronged. I don't know, I feel like I've been forced to be something other than who I'm meant to be.
I know what the father would say at times like this. I'm not good at this sort of thing, so I'll just try to impersonate him. But what do you think you should be or were supposed to be?
A healer. And for some reason, and because of the nature of this war, I've been forced to be a soldier on top of that. It's an irony that I am not the first to face, I understand that. There have been many medics over the years, and many wars.
She nods her head. Says the world is going to need more healers. As time goes by, it needs more of them now than it's got. And it's going to need a lot more come spring. If it's anything like the last time, the winter will be bad. There'll be starvation, there'll be cold, there'll be hypothermia. But if we get a spring, and like we did last time, none of that will compare to the plague. Suppose our only mercy is there are a lot fewer of us left to transmit it now. She tries to force a smile, but it's clearly empty.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I'm supposed to head out tomorrow, so I probably need to go get some sleep and make sure I'm able to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
She'll nod and say, yeah, of course, Doctor, of course you do. Thank you for bringing me. And, what would he say? Oh, and she has difficulty trying to find words, and says, he would hate to think of it like this. He would never say this to you. But maybe try not to disappoint him? He'd never say that. He would never be disappointed. His patience is infinite. But you know what I'm saying. If you feel like you should be this healer, and he's reminding you to go that way, maybe you should try doing something like that. I don't know. And then she looks away, and she's clearly not quite sure about what she's saying.
No, that I understand what you're saying. That is a hope of mine, but I can't do it now. The reality of the war makes that impossible. But if God chooses to let me survive through it, I do hope to be a healer where I'm needed most. But he said that we'll never be able to go back to our homes as they were. Before I left, I knew that I would never be able to go back to my home as it was. I suppose in some ways that makes it easier to come to terms with the fact that I'm probably never leaving the area. Anyway, like I said, I should probably go get some sleep, so have a good night. I'll
have a good night, Doctor. She'll disappear off into her room. She's clearly sullen, but it's the sort of thing where, better she knew.
Yeah.
What about Dalton? Do you have any plans across this evening?
No, just relax and keep an eye on the group. Kind of
Fantastic.
roll
And other
protection.
than fantastic. And other than eating at the officers' mess, was Soboslau doing anything extra? I will take that silence as a no.
Not really, yeah. I think my brain's just...
Sure thing. Oh, and we don't have a huge amount of time left. No more than about half an hour. So, and if people need to go, just let me know. Okay. So, the dawn rises. The sun comes up. The fuel truck is no longer parked in the center of town. It's been taken off to the vehicle compound. It's sort of sitting off to the side of it. Pipes are lying about a couple of places. You can tell that most of the fuel has already been distributed. Soldiers are starting to get to work. You can see people are loading and unloading boxes. Things are being organized. Lists are being taken. The prep work to pack up and go is very much underway. You are allowed to just head to your BMP without any kind of issue, and you're allowed out towards the town of Kluxborg. I'm guessing the Commodore is driving again?
Yep.
Give me a driving roll, just flat. Okay. You head down the concrete roads towards Kluxborg without incident. There are potholes here or there, abandoned, burnt out vehicles here or there, but you're able to navigate around them without any kind of issue. You don't bump into any kind of resistance on the way to Kluxborg, and as you approach the village, it's definitely smaller than either Prasco or Crespies. It appears to be sort of near the tree line, but a little distance away from it, and it looks heavily battle damaged. Most of the buildings look like ruins. What, if anything, do you do?
He goes, "Can you guys see anything?"
Give me recon rolls.
He's getting the other guys to help do recon rolls.
Okay. Oh wow. I mean, fortunately, those aren't pushes, so bad stuff doesn't
Yeah.
happen. But
Yeah, he ain't
Rostogram
pushing.
Yeah, Rostogram and Wolf see nothing. They see conspicuous nothing. Dalton, looking his telescopic sight on his rifle if he's allowed, will notice that, yes, the vast majority of the buildings seem badly damaged. One or two of them are in a slightly better state than the others, and there doesn't appear to be any immediate sign of human activity. There is one building in the center that looks as though it's been repaired, but it looks as though it's been repaired in a slipshod fashion. Rather than putting tiles on the roof, they've plugged up the hole with boards that they've nailed in place, that kind of thing.
I'm just like, well, there's nothing here, so I'm
Okay. Do you drive
unless
into? Oh, carry on.
unless
Oh,
Dalton's.
Yeah, I forgot. There is one thing that you will notice. It's very difficult to tell, but when Dalton looks left and right, he can see that train tracks run in and out of Glücksburg.
Okay,
Do I notice if there's any wildlife around, like wild dogs or anything?
In terms of wildlife, you don't notice wild dogs or anything along those lines. And in terms of farm animals, they maybe a goat wandering around, but not like a proper farm's worth of farm animals. And you don't notice any game animals, but they could be deep in the woods, and you don't see very far into those at all.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is if the place is contaminated, the animals would also be contaminated. So
that's true. You don't notice like
so
piles
there would
of
be any animals around if the place
corpses.
was right.
Yeah, there are no great big piles of animal corpses, and there is a goat, some birds wandering about. They seem fine.
All clear?
I think so.
He drives forward.
All right. I'm going to say that the entire team can give me rolls again as you drive not into the center of Glücksburg, but sort of like on its outskirts. Okay. As you are driving along, the main road that you're on passes very close to Glücksburg's railway station. It's a tiny little village railway station. It's not like one platform on each side of the rail line kind of thing. It's tiny. But there's a railway junction just outside the station where it splits off into two lines. And there is a very convenient placed explosive damage there. Like, if this was an artillery shell or a mortar, it would be 1,000 to 1 shot. Chances are this is deliberate sabotage. Someone's blown the junction.
Okay. If somebody's deliberately done that. He continue. He goes, Dalton, do you say anything? Doctor.
I see some blast damage on the side of up ahead, but nothing moving.
I'll keep him driving forward and keep at the ready, you guys.
Okay. Well, as you do that, as you move forward, there are no issues. The railway line it runs northwest, sort of heading towards Namisto, and it runs southeast, heading into the woods. It doesn't follow the road line at all. If it were heading in any one direction, it might be taking the shortest possible route towards Drobdizien. And there's another split of it, which is heading north out of Crooksborg, heading towards Kepno. And yeah, it's at that junction where it blew. But yeah, you are, I say, allowed to just keep on going. Nothing tries to stop you. There's no human being. There's nothing there. There's just ruins.
Okay.
You keep heading down the road towards Opole.
Yep.
Did we bring a
Okay.
Geiger counter with us or anything?
You do have a Geiger counter. And it's currently sitting at background levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It would assume you can keep on scanning if you keep on looking at it just in case.
you would know that the results from inside the BMP may not necessarily be entirely accurate, but it will at least tell you if outside is whoa, mama.
Yeah.
Ooh, mama.
As long as there's nothing coming into the inn, then we're perfectly fine.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, you head south on the road into the woods. I imagine Dalton would realize this, but anyone would realize that this is the perfect place for an ambush. The trees come in close to the roadside. They're dense. There's lots of underbrush and foliage and so forth for people to hide in. Do you want to continue just driving down the road, or do you change your tactics?
I think we ought to slow down and implement light discipline. So if we have our headlights on, we need to turn them off.
Yeah. He's gonna do that.
Okay, you slow down. Everyone can give me... Actually, no, not everyone. Only the driver and the people on the sort of gunner positions can give me on rolls. So I'm imagining one of those people is going to be Dalton. Okay. So, you're driving along. You're slow, but your vehicle is still incredibly noisy. Creep along. Every now and again, you pay a lot of attention to a shadow that seems a bit odd, and you look twice, and it's fine again. And you on and on and on and on, and everything is fine. I'll just put you here, which is the hex that you're currently in. Yeah, everything is absolutely fine. Do you keep pressing on at the slow speed?
Yes, and I'm assuming the lieutenant's on the other one.
What, the other gunner position?
Yeah.
Okay. You keep pressing on, and you're about 10 kilometers away from Opole. When you're in a fresh hex, so you can all give me recon rolls again. Okay, Wolf. Yeah, eyes on. Dalton's eyes on. Excellent. All right. You're rumbling along, and again, you are still cautious. And eventually, you see something in the trees. There is... You're not quite sure what it is, but it feels odd. It feels wrong, and whatever it is, it's looking right at you.
He goes, "Do you see that, Dalton?"
Do.
Keep
Okay.
your Lieutenant, keep your wits about you. We got people looking at us.
As a matter of interest, what are you doing with your radio? Have you just got it sat on the NATO frequency to talk to Praska?
Yeah, the NATO.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, Sorrel, you were saying something.
I was just going to say, I was going to ask if the BMP is armed with smoke canisters.
Ooh, that's a good point. Let me check. Oh yeah, no. I think even the BMP-1 had smoke launchers.
I look at the
Variants and
picture that you put in
modernizations.
chat. I can't tell, but I know what I'm looking for, but I don't see it.
Yeah, oh, I know what I'm looking for. So it wasn't standard issue on the BMP-1. However, later model BMP-1s were put with smoke grenade launchers in the rear of the turret. So I'm just seeing if that would be even visible on that picture if it's the wrong angle. But yeah,
not,
I'm going to say. Yeah, so I'm going to say that yes, you do have a smoke launcher.
So what I'm going to suggest to the Commodore is that if we are engaged, we need to immediately pop smoke and back down the road as fast as we can to disengage.
I agree. Yeah.
Because if it's an armored vehicle, this BMP is not going to be able to take it on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you're all alert now, borderline paranoid. You can all give me recon rolls again. Okay.
Don't
All
forget
right.
to roll, Lieutenant.
Oh, right. Roll. Recon, got it.
Yeah, recon.
That.
Okay. All right. So, Rostergram is sitting in the back. Oddly, the BMPs do have very small viewports out the side for their personnel. She has an incredibly limited view of what's going on, but still a view. Soboslao has got a slightly better one, but again, only in roughly which direction the barrel is pointing. And as a result of which, it's actually Rostagam notices first something else slightly to the side of the tank. And then Soboslao notices ahead of the tank, but not where you saw the first thing. Somebody, and it is now very clearly a somebody, is giving you a very obvious signal, but you do not know what the signal means.
Is it a hand signal or is it a?
Yeah, it's but it's not so much a hand signal. It's more like a light code signal, as in flashes of lights,
Okay.
and it's not
Flashes
in
of lights,
it's not in a code you recognize.
It's not traditional Morse code or anything like that.
No.
Probably not NATO then.
Probably not.
The code repeats. You can see it's repeated, but other than that, you don't know what it means.
Okay.
Is it a code that we could easily replicate?
Yeah, you could with either your vehicle headlights or with actually, I'm not sure the BMP ones had floodlights as standards, but they had headlights. So you could, with your headlights, do it. The dots aren't so quick that headlights won't be able to keep up.
He does it.
All right, you repeat the code back. Nothing happens for 30 seconds. Do you do anything?
Be ready to pop off that smoke grenade if we...
Initiative! So what happens, and we're probably not going to go too much into this because we're heading towards the end of the session, but You are aware. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The light code doesn't go again when you repeat it back. There's a really brief sign of movement, and then Rostogram is probably the first to hear as an RPG comes out of the woods. And you are taking rocket fire. Good job you gave away the M113. That would not hold up so well. I'm now going to be doing some secret rolls.
Yeah. He knew something was off when the village was
Okay. Just trying to get his stats, and then I'll be putting people on maps.
Yeah. My hunch was correct.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I need to do some more rolls.
Oh, what's going on?
Right. Okay. So you are there in the BMP. Something strange is happening. There's the sound of a rocket coming out of the woods. BAM! It hits you towards the rear of the vehicle. You are thrown about left, right. You're shuddering. You can't immediately assess the damage. Dr. Rostogram in the back. You are the closest to the explosion. You don't take any points worth of damage, but you do take fluff damage as the metal buckles on the side of the vehicle, flecks of metal come off and lance into your leg, into your arm, etc. It's all shallow cuts, but boy does it sting. You shield your eyes. The sound is deafening, ringing in your ears. There's smoke and the smell of blood. And when you open your eyes again and move your hand away, you can see daylight out of the side of the BMP. Your armor has been decisively penetrated, and we now into map proper.
I did say to Daunton to have the smoke grenade
Have the
ready.
smoke ready.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just making sure this is. Oh no, this isn't quite the right map. I do apologize. Yeah, this one will do. Okay. So you're in a slightly sparser section of the woodland, but nonetheless the trees are dense and close in. I'm just going to put people on the map. And the M113 is there in this hex. You're all currently in it. And I am going to say that due to people having fired, you are able to identify at least, and it's the M113 token, I'll update it to a BMP token, but we're able to.
What do we notice?
Yeah, you're at least able to see the. I can drag the token onto the map. It's being naughty, but there we go. The anti-tank soldier, the RPG rocket, who has just fired at you. You are also able to notice that. Let's delete that one. There appears to be at least 2 more soldiers of which you are immediately aware. Roll20 is being slow and taking some time to update. But yeah, there are 2 more soldiers in the woodlands that you are immediately aware of. One is to your front right, the other is to your left. I'm saying that your front currently is. You're facing that way. Your front is southwest facing. And you have just taken a rocket hit to your BMP that has penetrated the armor. And yeah, I'm going to say, especially since this is vehicle combat at the moment, that your vehicle is up next. The surprise round is gone. So yeah, and as long as you all stay in the vehicle, you can all act on the same initiative.
Dalton, go and I'll reverse. You go.
All right. Is that what you do, Dalton?
I'm not understanding what she
Gas.
wants me to do.
Top off the gas, so we can actually do a tactical retreat because you would have noticed that the hole is penetrated.
Okay, so the driver
Yeah.
would actually have to pop the smoke, not me. I'm in the turret
Okay.
with my sniper rifle.
I'll pop
Alright.
off the smoke and do the retreat.
All right, give me a driving roll. All right. As you are driving, you feel something is wrong. You're not quite sure quite what's happened because, of course, you're not able to get out and properly inspect the damage. But the vehicle is not acting like it should. You are, however, able to reverse back more slowly than you might perhaps like. And just looking at the speed of this particular vehicle. Okay. So you are able, if you want, and to stay on tarmac to get back to about here.
Okay, yeah, I'm staying on tarmac and I'm just letting them know to be ready to fire if they hear any whistling.
Okay. Since this is all in the same round, I'm going to say that I'm going to slightly bend the rule rather than keeping the fog in one, or the smoke rather, in one square. I'll say it sort of comes with you as you go, which is
Yeah.
how it should be.
Actually, the smoke
So-
generators on armored vehicles produce
Yeah.
smoke for quite some time, so it's like a wall, right?
A wall, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, your vehicle is currently in smoke. Dalton, you are buttoned out, as it were, in the hull, not in the hull, in the turret. You are surrounded by a thickening cloud of smoke, and the EMP has taken a direct hit. What do you do?
I don't want to clamber out of the vehicle and take up a fighting position on the ground
Okay.
because I am not skilled in armored combat. I'm a sniper.
All right. Do you jump out left
Yep.
or right?
Well, if the vehicle's facing south, I would jump out to the west side of the vehicle and use the vehicle as cover between me and the enemy.
Okay, so
And then I would start, I'd be on that side there and probably would cross up
what to here?
around this way, get around behind them. Yeah. So that I could see
Okay.
down into this area here.
That direction. Excellent. Since
So
you're
right
now
there.
out of the vehicle and have got... Oh, you can move the token. You should have control of it. So move him to where you want him to be. Since you're out of the vehicle, you can give me a fresh recon roll because you're no longer in smoke and it's easier to see things when you're out. Okay, that's 1. In that case, you will be able to see. I really do not know why the Roll20 tokens do not want to cooperate. I only pull it. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. And that roll, yeah, you're going to get this guy as well. Okay, so that's what you're able to work out.
And they're about 50 to 70 meters away. Is that right?
Yes, each square is about 10 meters, or each hex, rather.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, you jump out, you move there. You've still got one small thing, because I'm going to say that's just a move action that you can do. You've still got a slow action left, so you can take a shot, or you could do something better to seek cover. But take a shot, you won't benefit from all sorts of aim actions because you move around a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a pot shot at.
Okay.
Well,
Right. Okay.
hold on a second.
The first shot in
Pot shot at that guy.
months. Excellent. So yes, you he is in cover. not in huge cover, but he is in cover. Just going to work out the difficulty of this. Okay, yeah. Smoke. He is prone. So you can give me a ranged combat roll at -1.
Hang on a second, I gotta figure out how to do this again. So ranged combat. Where's it at? Oh, here it is.
You can
-1.
roll it straight off the and you can roll it straight off the weapon in your sheet because that way it'll do the damage and so forth as well.
Yeah.
I think I gotta go.
Okay.
Okay.
So I go to the combat page.
Final scene. Yep.
And then fire it from here.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. So, you do fire. Hit. You do not score a critical hit because the cover he is behind lessens some of the damage for the weapon, but you're aware that the target shifts as though he has taken some form of damage from your blow. Okay, all right. Since Nostro's having to go, Nostro, is there anything quickly you want to do in combat? And we will end the session after this round is done.
Well, definitely be the damage control fella.
Okay. The damage is there's a big hole in the side of this thing.
Shit.
Do you want to try and do anything more detailed?
Yeah.
Shit.
Than that?
We're in smoke right now, so it's a perfect time.
Or what?
Anything?
I mean, it could be worth trying to figure out why we were moving back slower, at a slower rate.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna figure that out while everyone's dealing with all this, so I can try to actually, make sure,
right.
the engine isn't fucked.
Yeah, give
Exactly.
give me a tech roll.
Got it.
All right. You look around thinking, what could cause this problem? What could cause this problem? What could cause this problem? You look about and are able to work out that your gearing system is damaged. Like it's rattling alarmingly, and stuff is under strain. And if for whatever reason the gearing system goes anymore, you're just going to be completely immobile. So the gearing system is on the edge of fucked.
I'm going to literally relay that all to everyone. The gearing system's about to go, so, shit.
I would stop the vehicle.
All right, and then we've just got Rostergram to go. Rostergram, what do you do? We're currently sitting down in the passenger section.
Oh, see you later, guys.
See ya. Recovering from the shock of what felt like a near-death experience, I'm sure. Now, as a player, I have a bad idea. She could climb up to the turret, but her combat skills are not that great, guys. So
I would point to the radio.
Radio for help. Okay.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I'm okay. That's the one thing she can say is like, I'm okay. But and kind of shake some stars out of her eyes and try and check that the radio's working. Just say we've been ambushed.
All right. Yeah, the radio is functional. It's clearly not taking any damage. All right. So, you radio back to the team that should be a little way behind you. You have been ambushed and taken damage.
They have
Dalton
RPGs.
has... Oh, carry on.
They have RPGs.
They have RPGs. Dalton has leapt out of the vehicle and has taken cover in the rocks, ready to provide sniper fire. He's already successfully engaging the enemy. And the Russians, well, who knows what the Russians are going to do? We will find out next week. Well, not next week, the week after next. As we return to the smoking, both from, shall we say, cover smoke and, oh my word, we're on fire smoke.
Yeah.
Fire.
Well, you've been hit by a BMP, not a BMP, an RPG. Something is smouldering. There were high temperatures
put that bottle
involved.
of vodka to use.
Yeah.
We'll find out in 2 weeks. Anyway,
we'll find out in 2 weeks how the party will deal with this sudden ambush. I will tell you this: approaching in a BMP is the reason why there was this sort of like weird delay, and he had the opportunity to spot things, and there were signals because these people were going like, "Are they Russian? Are these people Russian? Let's try and work it out." Oh, okay, they're not giving the appropriate responses. They're not Russian. Shoot them. But if you just come up in a NATO vehicle, you would have been like deadpan ambushed.
Yeah. So basically, he's yeah. That's why we did the radio for help. That's why I got the doctor to do it. I was like pointing at the radio so she knew to go and radio it through.
Yeah, you're busy driving. I get it.
Yeah. So it would be like
clears. Who knows? You got the biggest gun around. It's just in your turret.
Yeah, I had to do like a certain amount of retreat, then be able to.
You took an RPG in your rear side armor. You at least want to be presenting your front armor.
Yes.
But okay, all right. I hope that oh, carry on.
Just to knock some common sense into these Russians.
All right. Well, we'll see how this goes in 2 weeks' time when we'll have combat. We'll get properly into initiative. We'll do it all nice and slick. And we'll see what happens with the, shall we say, interesting plan you have to prevent Poles from getting their hands on the supplies and to avoid bloodshed at the town of Crispice. Will it work?
We'll find out in 2 weeks.